Canusa's directional drilling kits, or TBK systems, are composed of two sleeves and suitable epoxy kits. The epoxy kits include application accessories, latex gloves, and pre-measured quantities of Canusa two-component epoxy. The TBK sleeves are shipped pre-cut with a pre-attached CLH closure. A detailed product installation guide identifies the important steps to properly install a heat-shrinkable sleeve and is shipped with each box of sleeves. These installation instructions are intended as a guide for standard products, so consult your Canusa representative for specific projects or unique applications. A heat-shrinkable sleeve is made of a cross-linked and stretched polyethylene backing coated with a heat-activated adhesive. The sleeve is pre-cut to fill the specific pipe diameter and has a pre-attached closure strip. Always follow the storage and safety guidelines when using the products. This will ensure that the products will be in their best condition when applied. Using the proper equipment is important. Torches, clean knives, and rollers that are in good condition, plus calibrated temperature measuring instruments, all make installation of sleeves easy, fast, and done right. Canusa recommends a short-handled, short tip with a maximum 400,000 BTU torch size. Contact your Canusa representative for your nearest approved torch dealer. Canusa also recommends the use of induction or infrared heating preheating equipment for pipe diameters greater than 760 millimeters or 30 inches. Ensure that the mainline coating edges are beveled to at least 30 degrees to create a smooth transition from the cutback to the coating. If there is the presence of oil, grease, or other surface contaminants, clean the exposed steel and adjacent pipe coating with an approved solvent cleanser. Warm the joint area up to 40 to 50 degrees Celsius before grit blasting to remove any surface moisture or volatile contaminants. During high winds or cold ambient conditions, such as lower than 15 degrees Celsius, pre-warm the joint area to 70 degrees Celsius before grit blasting. Thoroughly clean the weld area with a sand or grit blaster to near white metal, SIS-SA 2.5 or equivalent. Abrade the mainline coating adjacent to the weld area to a distance 50 millimeters beyond the sleeve width. Using a dry, grease, and lint-free cloth, wipe clean or air blast the steel and coated areas to remove foreign materials. If necessary, provide additional heat to ensure the surface temperature is at least 30 to 40 degrees Celsius. Follow the preparation, mixing, and application instructions provided with the supplied Canusa two-component epoxy pack. Using the applicator pad supplied or an approved applicator, apply the mixed epoxy to a uniform thickness of 100 to 150 microns, or as specified on all exposed bare metal plus 10 millimeters onto the adjacent pipe coating. Using the appropriate propane torch, induction heating, or infrared heating equipment, preheat the applied epoxy primer to the required temperature as indicated in the product installation guide. Do not use an intense flame on the mainline coating, and if a film develops on the coating because of overheating, use a surface abrasion tool to remove it. Check the temperature to ensure that the preheat temperature has been obtained on the entire pipe circumference. This preheating will substantially cure the epoxy and ensure proper flow and bonding of the sleeve adhesive. Ensure that the epoxy primer is dry to the touch prior to sleeve installation. Partially remove the release liner and gently heat the underlap at the edge. Center the sleeve on the pipe, ensuring that it equally overlaps onto each edge of the factory coating. Remove the remaining release liner while wrapping the sleeve loosely around the pipe. Gently heat the top of the underlap, the adhesive side of the overlap, and the green side of the closure until it becomes glossy. Press the overlap and closure firmly into place. Gently heat the top of the closure and pat it down with a gloved hand. Repeating this procedure, move from one side to the other and smooth any wrinkles out by gently working them outward from the center of the closure with a roller. Using the appropriate size torch, begin at the center of the sleeve and heat circumferentially around the pipe using broad strokes. If utilizing 2 torches, operators will need to work on opposite sides of the pipe. Continue heating from the center toward one end of the sleeve until recovery is complete. In a similar manner, heat and shrink the remaining side. Shrinking has been completed when the adhesive begins to ooze at the sleeve edges all around the circumference. Finish heating the sleeve with long horizontal strokes over the entire surface to ensure a uniform bond. While the sleeve is still hot and soft, use a hand roller to gently roll the sleeve surface and push any trapped air up and out of the sleeve. Continue the procedure by also firmly rolling the closure with long horizontal strokes from the weld outwards. Visually inspect the installed sleeve and make sure that the sleeve is in full contact with the steel joint, that the adhesive flowed beyond both sleeve edges, and that no cracks or holes are in the sleeve backing. The sacrificial sleeve is intended to protect the corrosion protective field joint while the pipe is pulled through the bore hole. Therefore, the sacrificial sleeve is applied on the leading edge of the field joint. Ensure that 100 mm of the first sleeve and 100 mm of the mainline coating where the sleeve will be applied is at the required preheat temperature. Completely remove any release liners from the 150 mm wide sacrificial sleeve. Wrap the sleeve so that half of the sleeve overlaps the first sleeve and half of the sleeve extends onto the mainline coating. Position the closure on the opposite side of the pipe relative to the first sleeve closure and recover as was done for the first sleeve. Follow the preparation, mixing, and application instructions provided with the supplied Canusa 2-component epoxy pack. When the sleeve is between 15 and 40 degrees Celsius, apply the epoxy over the sacrificial sleeve to form a wear cone. The epoxy should cover 50 mm onto the pipe coating, the entire sacrificial sleeve, and 50 mm onto the first sleeve. The epoxy applied should be thick enough to thoroughly cover the edge of the sleeves. Apply epoxy to the trailing edge of the first sleeve, 25 mm onto the sleeve and 25 mm onto the adjacent coating. It is best to allow the epoxy to cure at ambient temperature, but, if necessary, use a low flame to cure the epoxy. The completed sleeve system must be allowed to completely cool prior to being pulled through the directional bore.